So, the world is clearly changing, and I think we need to talk about it. Why is it that everywhere I seem to be, people are just carrying on as if we're living in 2018? The world has changed, and I feel like nobody is paying any attention. All right? It's not, yes, war has been going on for centuries. But even with that, there were rules, there were regulations, there were laws, there was an expectation in recent years, since World War II, of what we did do and what we didn't do, what we said and what we didn't say. We have got a clearly unstable person leading America. And yet we have completely normalized the fact that this person is this most powerful person who has the influence and the power to make some pretty heinous decisions that impact not just America, but the entire world. We are just allowing that person to make those decisions. No one is stepping in. No one is saying, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And we are just living ourselves. Those of us who are not in America are just kind of living our lives day to day, thinking that this is not going to touch us. And maybe I'm just being paranoid. Maybe since the pandemic, I have become hypervigilant and I feel like, oh, something maybe even more madness could happen in a way that maybe before the pandemic people didn't consider. Like before the pandemic, did anyone really consider like a world lockdown where, we would be controlled in such ways? Maybe not, but I've always been hypervigilant. Blame trauma. I probably would have imagined something like that happening. Anyone who was called a conspiracy theorist could have imagined something like that happening. Definitely could have imagined the files and all that's come out of those files. In fact, many conspiracy theorists have been speaking on topics like this for years and decades. And they've been dismissed and it's been minimized, etc. And what's always interesting to me is that when the truth comes out, and it usually does, no one then goes to correct themselves. No one says, sorry, conspiracy theorists. We got it wrong. We were wrong. No one even acknowledges that these things have been being said, right? And that is completely intentional. It is completely intentional. And it just gets to a point where people really start to question whether they are crazy, whether they have always had it wrong. It's just gaslighting on a whole nother level. And I think it's important to talk about it because every time you try and have a sane conversation with someone about what is going on in the world and whether we need to be concerned, whether we should be preparing, and this is on pretty much any topic that people find discomforting or not positive, right? People just want to act like you are overthinking it. You're overthinking that. We can't live like this. You've got to live day to day. You can't just let that stop your life, right? As if safety is not important, as if security is not important, as if food security, financial security is not important, health security. It absolutely blows my mind that people just prefer to keep their heads buried in the sand and would rather just pretend that nothing is going on than acknowledge something that they find discomforting. And this is what we did during the pandemic. It was like all other countries were locking down, making changes, putting restrictions in place, starting to wear masks, and here we were, here in the UK, just la 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 la, nothing's going to happen to us. We're privileged. Nobody can tell us what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. They're not going to lock us down. I can remember having conversations about this. I can remember when the lockdowns were first implemented, I think it was March 20th. I feel like it was March 20th. And people were like, nah, we're not doing that. No, it's not going to happen. Restrictions have been put in place at work. People were like, no, I'm going into work anyway. And they were going into work anyway. What are people not understanding? It's like we are so blinded sometimes in this country by privilege. And not all of us, but you know what I'm saying. That we really just think the rules, the laws of the world do not apply to us. And same goes for America. I'm just thinking it might be a Western thing. But I am just in a real space. And I feel like I'm torn somewhere between, is this neurodivergence, right? Not understanding social cues and why people don't want to talk about important things, or is this a neurotypical problem? Like, are they just so good at just, again, burying their heads in the sound, dissociating from the reality that is literally all around them? And again, I hate this to be a them and an us thing because, as I say, I'm very newly diagnosed, but I've always felt this way. I've always felt like, why do people not care about important things? Right? Why do people not see this as important? Why does everyone tell me to stop being so sensitive? Why does everyone tell me to stop worrying? Why does everyone tell me, oh, just send your child into school, even though, or send your kid to nursery when there's been, how many heinous things reported coming out of nurseries here in the UK in recent years? And I'm supposed to just see those stories, not be impacted by them, send my children anyway. And I'm overthinking it and oversensitive if I consider that even one child's life, even one child being abused is too many. What am I not comprehending here? Seriously. And I am starting to understand why I really struggle with people. I really do. And also why maybe I don't want my kids to go to mainstream school, because I don't want them to come out of it just robots, just blinded, who don't care or think about anything other than what they have been conditioned and trained to care and think about, like the next promotion, or the titles, the academic achievements, the career, the mortgage. We do understand that people have had whole mortgages and their homes have been blown to smithereens in these wars, right? Whole cities. What are we teaching the next generation is important, right? There's been so much change. Young people get a lot of flack, but in so many ways, I think they're brilliant in terms of accepting difference. And it's like this older generation, the media, the politicians just want to pull them backwards. Just want to pull them backwards. They just want to pull back all that progress that has happened. And it's being done in such manipulative, heinous ways. And we just either don't care, don't see it, don't understand, don't know, It's a lot. It's a lot. But I did want to come on here and talk about this because I'm just intrigued. Does anybody else feel this way? especially those of you who may have small children. Like, are you feeling a little bit shaky and concerned about their future and what that is actually going to be? What is it going to look like? I have two under 5. What is it going to look like for them 20 years from now? What is the world going to be? What are they going to care about? What are they going to have been told they should care about? What is the environment going to look like? What is it going to be? If you care about these kinds of conversations, if you think about these kinds of things, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know that I am not alone, because I am seriously struggling out here right now in this world. And I am very much anticipating there are going to be big changes in this world as we know it. I really do anticipate that life is about to change as we know it. And as much as I try to go day to day and carry on as if everything is normal and carry on as if, yeah, that's just a war all the way over there, it has nothing to do with us. My gut instinct is that we are going to be so impacted by everything that is happening right now, and the world is going to change as we know it. We need to wake up. We need to open our eyes. We need to see what's going on around us. We need to stop burying our heads in the sand, and we need to fight. We need to fight for our lives, for this world, for the future world of our children. Because if we just continue to be complacent and sit here and distract ourselves with all the things that we distract ourselves with, the world is going to be so different. And whilst one can hope and dream that it's going to change for the better, what we are seeing around us is showing us that it is regressing and it's changing for the worst. Lawlessness, just complete lawlessness, hatred, racism, sexism, homophobia, ageism, all of it, Islamophobia. It's all just here, blatant, out in the world. Accepted. Anti-immigration, all of it. Anti-Semitism, all of it. It is everywhere. We've become so desensitized to hatred and division, and to what we are doing to this beautiful planet we call home. What we are doing to our selves, our bodies, our souls, our homes. You know, something's got to give. Something's got to give. But yeah, let me know if you're feeling the same. And as always, stay regal in real life if you can. Quite hard right now. Bye.